Hi, I see a lot of comments about how spending crypto is bad and just produces downward pressure on the market. And I think people are really underappreciating the potential of the currency use case of cryptocurrency affecting the overall value of the network. So I want to go over some numbers here and kind of illustrate what the potential impact of people using a cryptocurrency for their daily spending could be on the network. So first, I want to take the supply. We don't really want to use the total supply here because a lot of this isn't actually in circulation. So I've gone ahead for Dash and take. The reason I'm using Dash is because this is the coin that I spend on a regular basis and that I feel is really best suited for the currency use case, though a lot of this may apply to other coins. Um, so I'm taking out the master nodes, which is about 26% of the network here. And then I'm taking out all the wallets that are more than 5 years old. These are not coins that we expect to be, in circulation. They're not really affecting the market price directly. Uh, these I'm just kind of taking out of the short term equation for shorter medium term or a time frame we could expect this to have an impact on. So I'm getting trimming it down to about 64%. Now, initially, I had used this greater than 1K wallet number to take exchange uh, money out as well, or long term investor money. And this would make the circulating supply much smaller. Actually, can I drop it back in there and show everybody? Yeah, so the circulating supply would become very small if I included that. Uh, well, actually, there's some overlap with this 5 year, so it wouldn't be quite as substantial as you see there. But I'm going to go with the much more conservative method of just taking out the 5 year old money because some of this might actually be regular usage. A lot of users, if they're spending their money, might still be buying it on exchanges if they don't have a way to earn it, or some other method of acquiring their Dash. So somewhere in between here, we're going with the much more conservative number. So what is the impact? And I'm using numbers for America here because simplicity, and that's where I am. So uh, we take the average American income, divide it by a month, and let's say each person manages to spend 50% of their uh, salary using crypto. And the way you would do that, for anybody that's not aware, and the way that I do it is through sites like this, bitrefill.com for gift cards and loadable credit cards, and Spritz Finance for paying your bills. And they also have a loadable credit card that actually works at a lot more places. By the way, neither of them paid me to do this. I'm just a happy customer of theirs, in no way sponsored. So anyway, let's look at what the effect is here. So 50%, so $2,200 a month maybe they spend. Let's say we have 1,000 users doing this. It's a $2.2 million um, impact on the network usage. Uh, Now, this is kind of a number frankly, I made it up because I don't know how much of your paycheck is in your checking account on average in between the time you get it and the time you spend it. Average that across 1,000 users. I think it's very conservative to say that 20% of that money is in the account. Um, though, given how many people are spending money they don't have, maybe this is optimistic, but you know, uh, if we have some responsible spenders here, it's probably much greater than this. So that's a lot of money. We got a little under $500,000 sitting in funds there for these 1,000 people to be doing this on average. Again, there'd be peaks and valleys. Um, so that's about 0.2% of the current circulating supply uh, of Dash up here. Um, it's not insignificant. but 1,000 people isn't very many people either. And then the impact on the daily trading volume. Now, this is hard to quantify how important it is because a lot of the trading volume are the same people going back and forth. So you add a very tiny amount to the trading volume. In real terms, this could have a very outsized impact. And I don't really want to speculate as to what that impact might be. And this might be a good point to say that I'm not claiming any specific effect on the on the price from this, and I'm definitely not suggesting that anybody make any financial investment decisions based on what I'm saying here. This is purely informative, so that we can understand the potential of this sort of thing, and how spending crypto as a currency might be sustainable or even beneficial. Because the common argument here is that if you're spending crypto, you're just putting downward pressure on the market. But in order to spend crypto, you have to have crypto. And to have crypto means you're holding crypto, which means you're taking some of this circulating supply and you're taking it out. So now everybody trading has to, trade amongst what's left of the supply. Um, so let's extrapolate this. Let's go to 10,000 users. Okay, the number's 10x. 2% is starting to get to be a noticeable portion of market cap. The daily volume percentage is going up quite a bit. Which one of these is more important? I'm not exactly sure. But I think when you're making percentage point impacts on the market and on the circulating supply, um, that's something that's going to have an impact on the price of the token. Um, Extrapolate again to 1 in every 10,000, and this is of the U.S. population, so 33,000 people. Now you're starting to get 3% and 6%. For reference here, the number of unique addresses used each day on Dash is currently 40,000. So more than 33,000 people. Now, of course, unique address doesn't mean a unique person. There could be one person generating 40,000. But this is kind of the low, that kind of in the average low range. I'm not including peak volumes here. This is kind of the resting volume. Let's extrapolate further to 1% of the population. If you had 1% of the U.S. population spending 50% of their money through crypto services, that would account for 33% of the market cap that would need to be held in their wallets just to do that. And it would account for 61% of the current transaction or the current trading volume on the network. That's an enormous amount of impact. But the most important thing, really, is that this compounds. This is just personal numbers. These businesses and any other services that people are using, point of sale businesses or anything like that, they're all going to have a balance as well that's going to impact this. Now, I don't know what those balances would be. I'm not sure if some of them might publish some of that information. I don't think any of these companies are currently publicly traded in the US, so it might be hard to tell. But there's a large impact there. So you have a compounding effect the more people you get on, putting this pressure on the market. And this is not only an upward pressure for the price, but it's a stabilizing pressure. Because if you get to the point where 60% of your daily volume is people doing regular living, getting their paychecks, paying their bills, that means that only a third of it is the speculators. Now, obviously, if you grew the network this much, speculation is probably going to rise at the same time. But the current state of Dash and, frankly, every other cryptocurrency is that there's very little real usage. There's very little spending, and it's almost entirely speculation. Even in the case of things like NFT markets and a lot of the smart contracts on Ethereum, a lot of those use cases are just people speculating on things that are on top of that network. So it's just speculation one step removed. Whereas people spending their money to pay their bills and buy the things that they're consuming, that's actual commerce. And that's going to have a stabilizing effect. If I'm constantly putting half of my pay into Dash and spending it on things, I'm not going to, one day uh, spend 10 times as much on, or 1 month spend 10 times as much on food and 10 times as much on car insurance. These are going to be very, stable, repetitive uh, movements of money in and out of the market. So I think this is very important to the eventual adoption of crypto, and also for any store of value use case. People love to make the argument that um, store of value is an more important thing as opposed to the payment network, the use of a currency. But if your entire market is speculation and none of its usage, you don't get the stabilizing effect of having real commerce be a substantial portion of your trading volume. Um, this makes it not a very good store of value. Now, I think most of the people making this argument probably realize that and aren't really looking for a stable store of value. They're looking for an exponentially increasing store of value, um, or an exponentially increasing value, not a store of value at all. So I think it's a little bit dishonest there. But eventually, you have to support that value with something, with some real use case. And I still think that the currency use case is the best use case for crypto. There are certainly some other very interesting ones, but this is one that works, that is ready to go right now. We don't need to wait for substantial technological improvement. The ability to scale this on Dash and probably on some other networks is here. You can do this right now. I do this right now. If enough other people did this right now, uh, the network would grow exponentially, and it could get very interesting very quickly. At scale, these companies could operate on lower margins, provide more services, and there would be an incentive for people to spend their coins, or rather, an incentive for businesses to accept these coins once you have people walking around with the coins spending them already on these other things. You have kind of a chicken and egg problem in cryptocurrency, in that nobody walks around with wallets full of crypto because there's nowhere to spend them. And nobody accepts crypto because there's nobody walking into their store with a wallet full of crypto ready to spend it. Uh, and that's the gap we need to bridge. Um, Now, personally, I think these are good enough to bridge it. They're good enough for me. The benefit to me using these as opposed to keeping all my money in the bank is very nice. I like this. It provides value to me. I don't know if it provides enough value to be a catalyst and create this kind of snowball effect into a larger and larger network. It hasn't really happened yet. I think it has the potential to happen um, if people lose enough confidence in the banks. Um, and I'm kind of surprised this hasn't happened yet. Several times in the last few years, I've gone to the bank and withdrawn a relatively small amount of cash and been told that it's not available, or sometimes they have to check if it's available. I find this to be pretty disturbing. Um, it's I think a change in the comfort level of people with the existing banking system could be a catalyst. But at this point, I'm kind of rambling, so maybe I'll make another video about reasons and benefits. I kind of just wanted to show um, the numbers here and see what people think. So thanks.